Week 13 of the NFL season is here, which means we got Thanksgiving games. A battle for the top spot in the NFC North. A battle between the Dallas Cowboys, America's team, and the Kansas City Chiefs, the faux dynasty. And plenty of more games. Plus a little Michigan-Ohio State action, because we got to talk about the game later in the video. Before we give you our predictions for every game in Week 13, be sure to like the video, share it around, subscribe to the channel. It helps us grow greatly. And let's get crack-a-lackin'.
Fantastic intro.
I was going to say, I probably should not have said a battle for NFC North supremacy because the Bears technically are the one spot. Starting things off with the 7-3-1 Green Bay Packers taking on the 7-4 Detroit Lions. And suddenly, having that tie is a little bit of a benefit here. They split the series to Detroit. Green Bay's got the edge when it comes to seeding in the playoffs. But thankfully, for the Packers, they're not splitting the series. We saw how they looked against a pretty substandard Vikings offense. Absolutely teed off on the offensive line. Once Minnesota got into must-pass situations, the game was effectively over. That is never going to happen. The Lions special teams are not going to muff punts. Their defense is not going to be gouged for the tune of 17 near unanswered points like the Vikings was. It is going to be a much more balanced game for Detroit. I just do not think Jordan Love will be able to capitalize on the athletic gifts of Christian Watson. He will not have long enough in the pocket with Hutch breathing down his neck with the Packers offensive line dealing with injuries. It's going to be a lot slower game. And since Josh Jacobs may or may not be in the lineup, I have very little faith in Eric, whatever the hell his name is, to go for another 150 yards on the ground like he did against Minnesota. Packers are not scoring a lot of points. As for the Lions, I don't think they're scoring that many points either, but they're certainly going to look better offensively than they did week one, that's for sure. I think they'll be able to do enough. I think Jahmyr Gibbs will have another good game, and if he doesn't, Amon-Ra's going to pick on the secondary. J-Mo's picking on the secondary. So I got Detroit pulling this one out. They actually will split the series now that I think about it. I've kind of erased week one from my mind.
If it wasn't for the Eagles and the constant drama circus that has been going on over in Philadelphia, I think we'd be hearing a lot more about the Lions just due to how the last 4 weeks have played out. They're coming off of a game against the Giants that they won in overtime, but they probably should have lost. Was not a great look when you have Jameis Winston and Wan'Dale Robinson lighting you up, trick plays all over the place. They lost to the Eagles in a really ugly game. They dog-walked the Commanders, and then they somehow found a way to lose to the J.J. McCarthy-led Vikings team. This is a Lions team that, in a certain respect, is reeling. This is not the dominant offense we saw the previous 2 seasons. Their defense shows up sometimes, but not all the time. They didn't show up against the Giants. And against this Packers team that has a good defensive line, I think they're going to get after Jared Goff. We saw in the Eagles game, the Lions' offensive line is susceptible to pressure this year, and I think the Packers are going to get a win in this one. The Packers' offense has been the furthest thing from what we wanted them to be this year. Their passing attack has not taken a step. When you have teams like the Giants, Bears, Cardinals, and Colts, if you told people heading into the season they'd have a better passing attack than the Packers, I think a lot of people would have called you crazy. So I think the Packers offense isn't what you want it to be, but given how the Lions' last few games have played out, I think they're susceptible to losing to the Packers.
The Packers offense isn't what you want it to be as part of a fantasy football-centric mindset. They've been fairly efficient on
Packers
the year.
Players
you
on
would
my
like,
fantasy
oh,
team.
I want a bunch of points. I want Jordan Love to throw for 5,000 yards. I want da-da-da-da-da-da. Packers offense, when Josh Jacobs and the offensive line was healthy, was exactly what they wanted it to be. Slow, methodic, completely controls the game. Dominant like a vice. As the injuries have started to happen, yeah, they've slowed down a little bit in that regard, but that's not, the offensive identity's lost. Their offensive identity is just not as explosive as you think it'd be, considering they've got a $55 million quarterback and a first-round pick wide receiver. LaFleur is more than happy with how that offense was going. Injuries have hindered that, but hey, what can you do? But enough yapping about the NFC North. Now the game of the week, maybe the game of the year in some regards, because you've got the Kansas City Chiefs heading on down to Jerry World on Thanksgiving to take on the Dallas Cowboys. And this is a very interesting matchup for from a lot of standpoints, just based off how these two teams play each other. Because you've got the Chiefs, super physical, super man-handy on the outside, love to press, but can get beaten over the top. You can't put Trent McDuffie on George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb at the same time. One of those guys is going to get open in space. On the other side of the ball, the Chiefs D-line playing better in recent weeks, but the Cowboys offensive line just absolutely stonewalled Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, and they can probably handle him. I think the Cowboys offense scores a lot of points in the air, but the Cowboys defense is still the Cowboys defense. And as much as the Chiefs O-line may struggle with Quinnen Williams, I still think Xavier Worthy or Rasheed Rice are either going to find a way to get open deep against that secondary, or the Dallas Cowboys send 4 guys deep, bail out every single time, and then Rice and Worthy both get the ball in space. So I think it's going to be an offensive light show on Thanksgiving. Ultimately, I have a little more faith in the Dallas Cowboys offense this year than I do the Chiefs. I think offense is going to be the deciding factor in this one, so I'll pick the Cowboys to win home and get to 6-5-1 just for hoots and hollers. But I think this is going to be a pretty good game, one way or the other.
Not because you're hoping to be able to say the dynasty's over.
I say the dynasty's over every single week. You know what's going to happen?
Every single
You know what's going to happen if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl this year?
What?
I'm going to get on TikTok the next day and say, finally, now the dynasty is once and for all.
There's no way they can hang on to the roster.
4 wins. By the way, you got on me about saying, Travis Kelce is the highest paid tight end in football. Last week you said, he's actually the third. You're right. But you really wish you weren't, because you know what Travis Kelce is? He is by far the largest cap hit for a tight end this year. I need to sort that out. So thank you for encouraging me to do some more research on that. His cap hit is substantially more than any other tight end in the league. The only saving grace for him being the worst tight end in football argument is T.J. Hawkinson's got a pretty large cap hit too, and he is also playing horrible. So Hawk's up in that conversation as well.
And Travis Kelce's playing a lot better than T.J. Hawkinson.
And he's getting paid a lot more than T.J. Hawkinson. But
the path to winning for the Cowboys, I agree, is through their offense. With Dak Prescott playing the best football we've seen him play, George Pickens, along with CeeDee Lamb, has really opened up their passing attack. The offensive line has been very solid. Javonte Williams, behind that offensive line, has given them a very solid run game. So if they're able to attack this Chiefs defense early and get the Chiefs defense on the back foot, they certainly could win a high-scoring affair. But you said you have more faith in the Cowboys. I just have more faith in the Chiefs when we see what the Cowboys defense has been. Quarterbacks that have air raided the Cowboys this year: Jacoby Brissett, Bo Nix, Bryce Young, Jordan Love, Caleb Williams, Russell Wilson. Justin Fields even put up close to 300 passing yards.
None of those guys air raided the Cowboys defense with Quinn Williams on their team. I mean, they've only had Quinn Williams for 2 games. I mean, it's been against 2 bad quarterbacks per se from the passing standpoint. There are 2 errors of the Cowboys defense this year, pre-Quinn Williams and when they can actually play football against NFL offenses.
They are 100% better with Quinn Williams, but as you just brought up in there, they played the Jalen Hurts, Kevin Patullo offense in the week prior, the Raiders offense, which has the worst offensive line in football. Now, the Chiefs also, it seems like they're going to be missing Trey Smith in this one, so I think that could play a major factor in the Cowboys being able to control the interior of the Chiefs' offensive line, limiting what Kareem Hunt is able to do from a clock management standpoint, and I think that potentially could give the Chiefs some issues.
Yeah, it's going to give them some issues. That's why they're going to lose the game.
I have more faith in the passing attack and what Patrick Mahomes has done against
there
weaker
is
defenses.
No shot you have more faith in the Chiefs' passing offense this year than you do the Cowboys' passing offense, regardless of who they're going up against. It could be the 0-3 Ravens. I'd still say, okay, bring out Dak and company. I still think they'll air him out more than Patrick Mahomes. Has one good week and suddenly we act like, the passing attack is phenomenal. It wasn't even a good week last week. We just had a bunch of yards because everything was open underneath. We got to get serious with these predictions, man. The dynasty will be over one of these days. I feel it. And this week, it actually ends. Speaking of dynasties over and really ending before they started, Joe Burrow's back as the Bengals fight desperately to stay above 500 to not go 3-9 to start the year. They're playing the Baltimore Ravens at Baltimore with Joe Burrow back in the lineup. Oh boy, I wonder how this game's going to go. No T. Higgins.
It's going to go the same as every other Bengals game has gone. We've seen Joe Flacco light up teams when he was part of this offense. And the same thing's going to happen against the Ravens. The Bengals defense is just very bad. It's funny they fired Lou Anarumo. Now he's in head coach discussions for head coach vacancies. Now that he's been having a very solid year as the Colts defensive coordinator. So the Bengals defense, it is just too all over the place to limit any offense to give their own offense opportunity to go out and win the game for them. On the Ravens side of things, Lamar Jackson clearly looks limited. He seems slower than he's been in previous seasons. He's not running away from people. I think he has to be dealing with an injury that we're not getting as much information about. But when you're playing this Bengals defense, I don't think that's going to matter that much.
I mean, the Ravens just scored 23 points against the Jets, so I don't think we can make the argument that, a terrible defense is going to get lit up because Baltimore could not light up a terrible defense last week. And in terms of comparability, with no Sauce Gardner and Quentin Williams, yeah, I think the Jets defense is just about as bad as this Bengals defense. So maybe it's a bit more of a game in that regard, but first game back with Burrow, feeling somewhat limited, and the Ravens defense actually playing well as they have most often done later in seasons. Mike Green finally inserting himself as a viable second-round pick in the lineup. I have very little faith Burrow's going to stay upright for a long period of time. They're going to be able to fully capitalize and really maximize their offensive output, particularly with no T. Higgins in the lineup. Maybe Jamar Chase just french fries Kyle Hamilton 10 times and goes for 200 yards and wins. So, I mean, the Bengals have a puncher's chance in this one. They always have a puncher's chance with how good their offense is, but it's just probably not going to happen. I have very little faith there. Speaking of very little faith, I got no faith in the NFL to run anything because they now have a Black Friday game featuring the Eagles and the Bears. And we can make all these pompous statements about the Chicago Bears. Oh, they're 8-3. They're doing this, that, and the other. They pounded on the Pittsburgh Steelers at home. They got rid of the Aaron Rodgers curse, even though Aaron Rodgers was standing on the sideline the entire game. This team really is not playing well. They're reminiscent of Steelers teams of yesteryear. The 11-0 Steelers, the 13-4 Minnesota Vikings from a few years back. They are a paper tiger. When they have to play a competent team, not a good team, not a competent offense, certainly. When they have to play a good, talented team, they're going to get folded in half. There's no two ways about it. The Eagles absolutely stuffing them. Their run game, which is supposedly the 5th or 6th best by the numbers in the NFL, not going to be a factor against the Eagles. Shut down entirely by Jordan Davis, by Zach Bond. Their passing attack, Caleb Williams going to stand in the pocket, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi sack over and over again. And the Eagles will just crawl to another win, 24-8 or something. The fun and games end here in Chicago. That Packers-Lions game will be for the top spot in the NFC North.
I could not disagree with you more. Now, I do agree on the respect that the Bears' record is a little fugazi. They haven't been beating the best teams in the NFL, and I think there's a lot of room for improvement with Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson. But I do think they've been getting better every single week. This Bears team has progressed, and I think it does say something that in these games that have been close, they are winning late. They are grinding games out with their run game. Their run game has been very productive, and on the opposite side of the field, they're playing the Philadelphia Eagles, who are reeling. This Philadelphia Eagles team is starting to feel a lot like their 2023 season, where they fell apart at the end of the year. I think Kevin Patullo deserves the lion's share of the blame for the problems their offense has been having this year. We've spoke about how their interior offensive line has not been blocking at all for Saquon Barkley. And against this Bears team is just more competently coached with Ben Johnson leading the way. Ben Johnson has been progressing this offense as the season has moved along. And I think with this Eagles team, they rely solely on talent. And when talent doesn't get them by, they lose to the other team because the other team is better coached offensively.
Well, lucky for Philadelphia, the talent disparity is so drastic between these two rosters, they can get by on talent this week.
Well, Saquon Barkley dealing with an injury, you and I have both spoken on how bad their run blocking has been specifically.
I think it's really just me speaking on. You've kind of adopted that last week after absolutely trash Landon Dickerson, or as Tom Brady would call him. I can't repeat that Tom Brady quote. But
I've spoken more on Kevin Patullo and what I think he's done to the offense. So we've seen an offense that has been getting by only on talent and the strength of their defense. So if you think the Eagles are going to win a 17-14 game, maybe, but I just have more faith for the Bears offense to execute than I do the Eagles offense right now.
I'll believe it when I see it when it comes to Chicago beating a good team. Speaking of beating good teams, you got to feel bad for the Carolina Panthers. They have to go all the way on the road, West Coast, play the San Francisco 49ers on Monday Night Football, then turn around short week, fly all the way back across the country, and play the buzzsaw Rams. The Panthers are going 6-7 this year. There's no two ways about it. As much faith as I would like to have in Chuba Hubbard, the interior offensive line minus Robert Hunt, Bryce Young, it's not looking good offensively for the Panthers. And if you just leave this defense on the field against Puka Nacua, Devonta Adams, Kyron Williams, Matthew Stafford, I just keep shouting names off on this offense.
Not going to give your
very
Michigan man a shout out?
Nah, I hadn't planned to. He's not playing. He barely is playing. Like, once Blake Corum has full control of that backfield, we can start talking about him. But Sean McVay doesn't like winning as much as I thought he did, so yet to happen. It's not going to go. This is one of those games we can probably gloss over. If the Panthers win, something has gone so drastically wrong for the Rams, their season might be over. I'm talking serious injury.
I don't understand how the Panthers are 6-6. Bryce Young, at this point, looks like a very good backup or someone that you signed to be your holdover quarterback that is your starter for 1 year. He has a really good game here and there. Then he has another game where he looks the complete opposite of very good.
Yeah, they got a word for that. Bad. Horrible, terrible. I mean, you know words for it, isn't it?
No good, very bad game. 2 picks versus the 49ers. make it 4 against this Rams team.
Probably not throwing 4. I don't think they're going to drop back to pass all that much. Certainly don't think they want to, given the strength of the interior and exterior defensive line. But hey, you never know. But on to another game of the week contender. The Cleveland Browns hosting the San Francisco 49ers. And prior to the year, I talked about Bryce Huff really needing to bounce back and be the guy in San Francisco, play up to the contract the Eagles had given him, or he was going to start bouncing around the NFL. He has found his long-term home, and that home is wherever Robert Saleh is. Huff is playing at an incredibly high level for an edge player. He's got to be the full number one focal point of the defensive line once Nick Bosa went down, capitalizing on that, leading the team in sacks, leading the team in tackles for loss, QB hits, all those stats. The eye test tells you he's playing really well, still has that speed and that bend to really get up under and inside on offensive tackle. Great guy there. While reeling with injuries, still they keep finding these backups, finding these rotational pieces, finding these plug-and-play guys to replace Fred Warner and Nick Bosa in the aggregate. The 49ers defense continues to swarm at the highest levels. We saw that against Bryce Young on Monday night. And I don't think Shedeur Sanders is going to be able to differentiate himself too much from Bryce Young. Maybe the bonehead mistakes are a little bit less prevalent, but the sack avoidance is probably a little bit worse than Bryce Young's, although Bryce Young's really good at avoiding sacks, so if it's only a little bit worse than his, good job, Shedeur. From an offensive standpoint, you have Christian McCaffrey playing at an MVP level, leading the NFL in yards from scrimmage, leading the NFL by a wide margin in touches, single-handedly carrying the 49ers offense, despite every other skill player missing time at some point in there. You've got Brock Purdy coming off a bad game, presumably will have 2 of those in a row. You have a passing attack which does not hold on to the ball longer than 2 seconds, gets it out to the checkdowns. The McCaffreys of the world, the Kittles of the world, does not let Myles Garrett fully capitalize and get 3-4 sacks. And yeah, this game's going to be fairly one-sided. Nothing against Shedeur, but there's nothing he could do matchup-wise and talent-wise against San Francisco.
The Shedeur Army needs to be thanking Kevin Stefanski and the Browns for the position they have put him in the middle of the season. His first start got to come against the Raiders, who are battling the Titans for the title as of worst team in football, and now against the 49ers. This is a great opportunity at home against a defense that has been completely decimated by injuries. You have the 49ers offensive line, which is the furthest thing from world beaters. Myles Garrett and the Browns defense will get after Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy's coming off of a 3-interception game where the offense looked the furthest thing from good. So I think we are going to see this game controlled by the Browns defense. They are going to limit the number of times the 49ers put the ball in the end zone. And then on the offensive side of the ball, it's going to take maybe one screen pass from Shedeur down the field. He throws for 130 yards, maybe a touchdown, maybe an interception. Quinshon Judkins gets it going on the ground game, and the Browns are going to get out of here with the win so his fans can keep praising him and lifting him higher.
See, I keep accusing you of hating Shedeur Sanders, and you are now trying to spin this. No, I'm picking him to win. See, I don't hate him. I know what you are, man. You are muddying the waters. You are trying to lessen this 49ers team so that when they beat Shedeur, you're just going to say, oh, see, he sucks still. Get real. The 49ers offensive line played better in recent weeks. The 49ers offense last week, I don't even know where you get the, oh, they weren't moving the ball or they didn't look good last week. They had 3 interceptions. Outside of those 3 interceptions, they moved the ball fairly well. Say what you want about the Panthers defense, certainly better than it was last year. So assuming Purdy doesn't throw 3 picks, yeah, they score 45 points on Carolina. I don't think he's likely to throw 3 picks every week. He's better than that. It is just a clear diversionary tactic.
The Browns' defense is better than Carolina's defense.
Lessen what is going to happen. That's okay.
I mean, Myles Garrett might put Trent Williams in the retirement home this week.
Yeah, I think Trent Williams is inching towards that retirement home of his own volition. I doubt Myles Garrett's going to make him spontaneously quit. He's played Myles Garrett before.
Texans are taking on the Colts. The Texans potentially have the best defense in the NFL at this point. We saw what they just did to Josh Allen last week against the Buffalo Bills. And if you are a Colts fan, you're going to be thanking the Chiefs. You're going to be thanking this Texans team in the offseason because we saw the Chiefs show the world what Daniel Jones is when he wilted in the fourth quarter. And the Texans are going to do what they did to Josh Allen last week times 10. The Bills have a solid offensive line. The Colts have a solid offensive line. And Daniel Jones is maybe 1/10 of Josh Allen. And you are going to see that become glaringly obvious against Will Anderson, against Daniel Hunter, against this DeMeco Ryans-led defense. I think the Texans are going to blow the Colts out of the water, and everyone is going to be rightly questioning if the Colts even deserve to be in the playoffs.
When does it stop? Like, if the Colts win a playoff game this year, when they win a playoff game this year, does any of this get walked back in the slides, or do they have to win a Super Bowl for you to shut up about Daniel Jones? Or even then, if they win a Super Bowl, you guys say, oh, all X skill player, Y skill player, Z player. Do you ever get tired of this? Like, I know the bitter hatred in your heart for Daniel Jones, which you have because your team ruined him. Tried to ruin him to start. When does it stop, man? Said the Texans or the Colts and Bills both have competent offensive line. The Bills have a great offensive line. The Colts do not have a very good pass blocking offensive line, particularly their left tackle spot has been an area of weakness the past month or so of the season. That's not me defending Daniel Jones. It's me having a stopwatch and being able to time snap to sack times of 2 seconds or less a few times. It's rough over there on that side of things. So what are the Colts supposed to do? They're supposed to hand the ball off to Jonathan Taylor 50 times, unlike what they did in the fourth quarter. They're supposed to rely on their running back, rely on the interior of the offensive line, rely on the run blocking. Yeah, you don't want to attack the best outside team defensively in football on the outside. Maybe they do some quick drop back stuff over the middle, get the ball to Tyler Warren, but I would be shocked if Daniel Jones was going to be heavily featured in this game plan. We saw it happen last week when a MVP level quarterback, although Josh Allen's not playing at that level, tried to drop back and pass his way back into a game against his Texans team. They lost to Davis Mills. We're going to get a heavy dose of Jonathan Taylor. You're going to flip right back around and say, oh, see, can't win without Jonathan Taylor, even though it's just part of a competent winning game plan, and we're going to be right back to where we were. Colts are going to go 9-3. They're going to beat the Texans, and it really just is, it's getting old. Can we stop using these clips for promotional material? Like you make a Daniel Jones hate piece every week, man. I don't understand.
It's not every week. There was an off
You've
week
made
in there.
5 the past month.
I mean, you want
That's more than every week.
I will edit the clips I want to edit. And
I will hate on Daniel Jones until he loses.
You started off your talk about the Colts playing the Texans with this rant about Daniel Jones, and then you slowly walked it back, being like, oh, a smart game plan is going to be taking Daniel Jones out of the game plan.
The smart game plan last week was taking
ball.
Josh Allen, one of the 3 best quarterbacks in football, out of the game plan. The Bills didn't call a smart game plan and lost. Am I saying Daniel Jones is better than Josh Allen? No. What are we talking about here? You're trying to muddy the waters.
Daniel Jones to basically not even coming into effect. And if a team is completely able to take away your passing game, they are not going to be able to win the game just by running the ball with Jonathan Taylor.
Take a wild guess what I'm going to say the Chiefs should do when they play the Texans in a week. Take a wild guess what I'm going to say should happen there. Really.
Run the ball a lot.
Run the ball up the middle with Kareem Hunt. Shocker. Maybe having a 5-yard carry offense, a fairly efficient offense, and capitalizing on that when playing 2 Pro Bowl, all-pro level defensive ends and 2 all-pro level cornerbacks is the smart thing to do. Like what? Does it just football strategy not matter? Do we just go out there and play narrative ball every week? I mean, they tried to play narrative ball last week against a very good underneath passing defense. They lost that one. That was bad play calling. What do you want me to say here? Like, this is just bad arguments. These are hateful.
You act like the Texans' run defense is bad.
It's not as good as the pass defense is. It is
right up there. Okay. They are 5th in the NFL in rush yards allowed per game.
Rush yards allowed per game and run defense are not the same thing. Let's take a look at the EPA. They're the number 1 ranked passing defense in football. Yeah, they're scoring a league average, like a 13 or 14 from an EPA standpoint, around bang in the middle of yards per carry allowed. And the EPA
and they have the second leading scoring defense in the NFL.
The EPA is being skewed by the fact that, hey, it is objectively more efficient to run the ball than it is to pass the ball. Again, the run defense is good. I don't think it's the 13th best in the NFL. It's probably a little bit better than that, but if you've got all-pro guards and Jonathan Taylor, you kind of got to nut up and beat that defense that way. Like, objectively, the passing defense is a lot better than the run defense in Houston. Are you seriously going to dispute that?
No, I'm not, but you're talking about the pass defense, and just because it's the best of the NFL, equating it to the run defense is a bunch. They have the number 2 scoring defense. Their rush yards allowed per game is 5th in the NFL, and I think a degree of success of their run defense certainly is just how good their pass defense is. But in totality, this is the best defense in the NFL, the way they've been playing, especially in recent weeks.
I mean, there's those fellas out in Denver who you were stupid enough to disrespect early in the year.
Sorry, excluding Denver.
Yeah, and maybe excluding the Eagles. They played pretty well last week.
Rams been pretty good too.
Anyway, Saints, Dolphins. Dolphins continue their voyage to 6-7 at home. I have a hard time imagining the Saints with Tyler Shuck at quarterback winning any games. I know it's not a real deep analysis, but all parts of that team are either bad or injured. And the Dolphins have got a little bit of momentum now, so maybe McDaniel continues the push to go 10-7 and keep his job with this one.
The Dolphins are off a bye week, and we've seen them at least have a little bit of juice with what Devon Achane has been able to do, catching some passes out of the backfield, running the ball. Jalen Waddle has been having a very solid year since Tyreek Hill went down with injury. So this Dolphins team at least has some life. This Saints team, Alvin Kamara is struggling with an injury. I don't know what the Saints have going for them.
We started off so hot this week. Just look at the next 3 games after this one.
Falcons, Jets. Unfortunately for the Rams fans out there, I think the Falcons are going to win this one.
You would have to hope.
Kirk was enough to beat the Saints. He should be enough to beat the Jets. And Tyrod Taylor, cool story. The Jets are just very bad.
I mean, the coolest part of Tyrod Taylor's story is the Chargers medical doctor puncturing his lung and letting Justin Herbert get the start to his career, unfortunately. That's what you remember about Tyrod Taylor. Not the Pro Bowl season in Buffalo, but medical malpractice. So, yeah, I'll also throw the Falcons winning that one. Cards, Bucks. If Bake Show's not on the field slinging that sucker around, the Buccaneers offense is not scoring points. We have an official prognosis yet on what he's dealing with.
AC
I know he was
joint sprain.
So is he playing or no? Because I know he had the sling on.
I'm not 100% sure. I don't think at the time we are recording this, it is.
Let's say he's not playing for this. Yeah, I'll throw a full mulligan in here. If he's able to find a way to scratch his way back onto the field to throw the ball around, it's not an injury in his throwing arm. It just manages the pain by getting horse tranquilizer jammed into his elbow. Then I still think the Bucs passing attack is good enough to overwhelm whatever Arizona's got going for it. They completed 47 passes a few weeks ago and scored 20 points. This is a really bad offense.
I feel bad for the Buccaneers because it feels like they are so much better than their recent results would show. I mean, they've had to play the Patriots, the Bills, and the Rams in back-to-back weeks. That is a really rough stretch of 3 games. And now your starting quarterback, your star quarterback who's in MVP discussions at the beginning of the season is dealing with the injury to his non-throwing shoulder, may not play in this one. Hopefully he's able to get back onto the field. And against this Cardinals team,
They're a bad 3-8, man. Let's not do this every week.
They're bad 3-8, but with Jacoby Brissett, the passing attack has been there. And you have to think at some point they're going to win one of these games eventually. I don't think they're going to go on some winning streak, but in the close games that they've had, the life that their offense has shown, you have to think they're going to get one. Marvin Harrison Jr., it seems like he's going to be back this week. Michael Wilson, Greg Dortch, they have gotten going in a big way with
Listen
Jacoby
to
Brissett.
The names you are saying.
Michael Wilson has been very good the last few games. Borderline dominant, some might say.
Michael Wilson and the torture chamber are your talking points about why the Buccaneers are going to lose this one.
I think the Cardinals are going to win. If Bucky Irving and the Baker are on the field, Bucky might finally be back. It could go a little bit better for the Buccaneers, but I'm picking the Cardinals to win.
I have no faith in Arizona to win a single game remaining on their schedule. Maybe that's just because they found a way to lose the Titans. Speaking of which, Jags-Titans.
Do you have faith in Cam Ward and the Titans in this one?
Scored 27 points against a pretty good, borderline great Seahawks defense last week. A lot of those points came late in the game once it was already over. But, there's signs of life. It would take a really bad Trevor Lawrence performance for Tennessee to win this one. I don't think he's going to have that bad of a game. I think the Jags just beat up on him and overwhelm him.
The Titans, the worst team I've ever seen play. I feel very bad for Cam Ward in the situation he's been placed in this season. There's been some bright spots, but more bad spots because of what is surrounding him.
You know who I feel bad for?
Who do you feel bad for?
J.J. McCarthy. I feel bad for
Let's not
McCarthy.
get Brian Thomas is also playing this week, so another major reason why I think it should be easy sledding for the Jaguars.
I feel bad for J.J. McCarthy.
I don't.
Because you've got this 22-year-old quarterback who is dealing with an injury, who is concussed, who has had his knee torn up in his young career, who is getting absolutely crushed both physically and metaphorically from social media, from all the sports talk shows, and from the blind side of his offensive line with Micah Parsons. You see that clip where Micah Parsons pancaked both his center and his guard within 1 second of the ball being snapped to him down on JJ's own goal line?
I was told the offensive line was going to be better this year.
You were lied to. The only redeeming part of that offensive line is Donovan Jackson. And it pains me to say that as a Michigan fan talking about a Buckeye, but Donovan Jackson's been pretty good. Kelly is playing like he's still concussed. Fries has been fine. O'Neal's been terrible, and Darrisaw is still kind of not fully back from the ACL. Granted, his legs are like 3 inches long, so you'd think it'd be quicker to recover. All that being said, I feel bad for JJ because Max Brosmer is going to go out there and lead the Vikings to a win on the road in Seattle, and the discourse is just going to be so toxic. Max Brosmer is going to have to go out there. The undrafted kid, the hometown hero from Minnesota, is going to go and slay the demon in Seattle. Vikings fans, as much as they may lie to you, really do not want to lose to Sam Darnold after he has gone and had so much success on a new team when they are dealing with the quarterback stuff they're dealing with. And Max Brosmer grew up a Vikings fan. He knows the pain of his people, and he will let that pain rest for a week. He is going to dissect this Seahawks secondary. The ball will be out quick. It'll be out on time. It'll look like that old Golden Gophers offense, certainly with a fair share of handoffs, hopefully not up the middle at Leonard Williams, dear God. But it's going to be an effective, efficient offense. Brian Flores, if any defensive coordinator in the NFL besides those employed by the LA Rams know how to get in Sam Darnold's head, it's a dude who studied him in practice for an entire year. I think we see maybe not a 4-interception game, but certainly a heavily pressured, more discombobulated version of the Seahawks offense, which only scores 25 points. The Bras, he's able to do enough to get 1-2 more points than that, and Minnesota emerges to 5-7, and the quarterback controversy is going to be horrendous.
Are you done reciting your fever dream?
Do I have a fever? I mean, didn't really sleep much last night.
I don't know what I just listened to. Whether it's Max Brosmer, J.J. McCarthy, this Vikings offense has nothing going for him. They've got a few big names. They got Justin Jefferson.
You're saying this so confident when Max Brosmer has not played a snap yet.
They got T.J. Hawkins. I don't believe
They
in
do
them.
not have T.J. Hawkins. T.J. Hawkins has been terrible this year.
I said big names. I haven't been doing a whole lot.
Are you saying
Jordan
Justin
Addison,
Jefferson's
dropping
lack
passes.
of success
Aaron Jones,
is due to
not
him
prime
not
Aaron
being
Jones.
good? Are you actually saying that? Is that what we're pushing?
Maybe you could talk yourself into the Sam Darnold-led Vikings team struggling, because who knows Sam Darnold better than anybody when it comes to a coach or a defensive coordinator? Probably the Vikings, who he just played with. They saw him in practice 17 games, well, also in the playoffs heading into that game. So I guess 18 games last year. They spent a lot of time with him. Maybe they stand the best chance at limiting what JSN does, limiting what Sam Darnold does well. But on the other hand,
I think the Rams stand the best chance of doing that, as evidenced by the 4 interceptions.
This is also true. But on the other hand, Sam Darnold has played against all these Vikings players in practice the last year. He knows the Brian Flores system and the Brian Flores defense
Do you really
probably
think
better
Brian
than any other
Flores was
quarterback.
throwing exotic blitz packages at Sam Darnold in
He
practice?
had to get him ready week in and week out.
Who
How do you think
else
they got
throws
to 14-2?
exotic blitz packages at anybody like Brian Flores? Seriously, no one blitzes more or as often and like Brian Flores. That was not done in practice. The ones were not squaring off.
Sam Darnold has been around it, so I don't think that element is going to come much into effect. The Seahawks are the second, third best team in the NFC right now. They're going to beat the Vikings.
Might be the third best team in their own division, man. What are we doing here?
Okay.
I mean, what do you mean, okay? They're clearly not one, and the other beat them, so.
It's a sliding scale. Head-to-head matchups.
Speaking of sliding scales, it wouldn't matter if it was me at left tackle. The Chargers are thrashing the Raiders. If you lose to Shadur Sanders and that Cleveland Browns offense, you suck. There's no two ways about it. The Raiders offense sucks. They're just awful. They can't run the ball. They can't run block. They can't pass the ball. They can't pass block. Even when Geno Smith has time in the pocket, no one besides Brock Bowers is getting open, and half the time Geno misses him. This is a terrible offense. Pete Carroll needs to retire. Geno needs to retire. Max Crosby needs to demand trade. Genty needs to try and re-enter last year's draft again, have something different go out. It's just all terrible. As for the Chargers, they may be reeling. They're not reeling that bad. The Raiders are one of the 3 teams at this point I cannot see myself picking 4.
I agree with everything you just said. And to add on to it, Omarion Hampton, it sounds like he's going to be back this week. So they're even going to have a little bit boost from him re-entering the offense.
I mean, I have a hard time imagining the Chargers running on anybody regardless of who's at running back. Maybe Mekhi Becton finally puts it all together again.
So the Bills are taking on the Steelers, and after watching what the Texans defense did to Josh Allen, maybe you're going to talk yourself into thinking that TJ Watt is going to have a massive game. They're going to disrupt the Bills offense, and the Bills are going to fall again. But we don't get back-to-back bad Josh Allen games this year. Beats up the Chiefs, bad game against the Dolphins, lights up the Buccaneers, and then whatever happened against the Texans last week. He's going to come back with a vengeance against the Steelers team. Maybe he'll have 5 touchdowns. Maybe he'll get to 7 touchdowns, and the Bills are going to beat the Steelers.
I feel like it's a bit of a misnomer to put last week on Josh Allen. He got sacked 8 times. A lot of that was not him holding the ball forever. Sure, the 1 interception was really bad, but dude was getting crushed in the pockets. It helps that the Texans have 2 edge rushers who are both better than TJ Watt. That probably gives them a slight edge over what the Steelers have going for them. And if you give up 34 points to Caleb Williams and company, I have very little faith in your defensive integrity. When your offense, without Aaron Rodgers, only finds a way to score 17 points against the Chicago Bears, I have very little faith in your offensive integrity. I think the Steelers are hanging on by a thread. Now the Raiders the Ravens have taken back the top spot in the AFC North. Things aren't looking good. The Steelers are going to be riding a 4-game losing streak into those Ravens games, and it's all just going to fall apart for them unless A-Rod comes back and plays at the level he was before, and unlikely with a bum elbow, bum wrist. Bills win. Whoop-de-doo. Broncos Commanders. Do we really need to dwell on this one excessively?
I just hope they don't let Jaden play.
This is a bad slate of games, man. Like the Thanksgiving games, all the good ones were loaded onto Thursday, and then we got 1 or 2 sprinkled in here and there. I mean, Vikings, Seahawks, that's going to be a solid game. But other than that, it's just a rough slate in the afternoon.
Max Prosper's a solid, okay.
They missed out a Vikings, man. But finally, we got the Monday Nighter, the revenge of the Super Bowls. What the Patriots will do to this Giants team, I don't give a damn if Jackson Dart, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, Jackson Powers Johnson is playing quarterback for him. It's not going to go well. New York used up all their trick plays last week against Detroit. They do not have any more end-around back tosses to Jameis Winston. Jackson Dart is not breaking cornerbacks' ankles. His routes are not clean. His route tree is unrefined, as we saw at Ole Miss. That's not going to translate to the NFL. The O-line will probably hold up better than expected, but still, no one's there of note to throw to. Gonzo is just going to be there thumbing his nuts all day, wondering, man, surely there's one competent wide receiver I can cover instead of just playing zone all day. No, sorry, Gonzo. They don't have anyone who's going to get open. Tough show of things. And the Patriots obviously just rolls. But hey, actually, they're going to have a rematch of the Super Bowl. Put that arm down, man.
The devil is gone in New York. Shane Bowen has been fired. And the Giants, they have to win one of these games eventually. At this point, their offense is not bad. It's not the reason they've been losing games. Last week against the Lions, we have Jameis Winston throw for over 350 yards, lit up that Lions defense. All the injuries they've had, whether it's Jameis Winston, Jackson Dart, their offense has been the furthest thing from pathetic. It has been their defense giving up these big late game leads. If they had a competent defense in the fourth quarter, they would be in the playoff picture right now, which is something that would have been shocking if you said that heading into the year.
Your offense scored as many points against this Lions defense as the quarterback you've been calling as bad as Jamarcus Russell did. Give it a rest. It's not, oh, our offense is spectacular, it's our defense blowing things. It is collective suckage.
And this Patriots team, they just lost Will Campbell. What does the Giants defense actually have? They have a good defensive line. They're going to be able to get after Drake May. They don't have their star rookie tackle. I don't even know who's going to be replacing him. But whether it...
With how Drake May did against Max Crosby and Myles Garrett against 2 high-level edge rushers early in the year, it might actually be a net benefit to have somebody else in there in his spot.
Whether it's Brian Burns, whether it's Abdul Carter, whether it's Kayvon Thibodeau, they're going to get on top of Drake May often. Maybe they'll even be able to force a quick throw and get an interception returned for a touchdown. I actually think this is not a bit. The Giants are going to win this one.
That's a bit much. That would be one of the great agendas to start pushing. Will Campbell is a 1 p.m. low-stakes offensive tackle. He can't handle the big matchups or the primetime games. I might go back and look at his performances and see if I can peddle that a little bit. He's dodging Brian Burns after what Myles Garrett and Max Crosby did to him. Yeah, not going to happen. Your man TreVeyon Henderson's giving him 300 yards. In totality, it's over for him.
Well, if TreVeyon does well, that only helps me in my fantasy leagues.
Who cares?
It
hasn't. Because we have got to talk about the game. The Michigan-Ohio State matchup is the greatest college football matchup of all time, regardless of what season, regardless of the playoff implications, regardless of any of that. Ryan Day is so thoroughly in his head about this game, he constantly makes poor mistakes. Last year he decided, I'm going to out-muscle Michigan. I'm going to out-tough Michigan. I'm going to run up the middle on their 2 All-American level defensive tackles. That didn't work out. This year, he thinks the monkey's off his back. He thinks, okay, I don't have to out-muscle Michigan. I don't have to have the most rushing yards. I'm going to throw it around this year and then beat Michigan through the air. He's in his own way again. It's going to be 32 degrees, snowing/slushing, raining in Ann Arbor this weekend. It's going to be a mess. Ryan Day's going to come to this game trying to throw the ball 50 times with Julian Sayin, who is a bum, and the Ohio State offense is going to completely sputter. In response to that, Michigan's offensive line, option of the quarterback, everything on the ground will click for the Michigan offense. Marshall Haynes, whatever backup running back they've got in the game, doesn't matter. 300 yards on the ground for Michigan. Bryce Underwood throws 1 touchdown pass, runs in for 2 more, and the Wolverines win their 5th straight.
Do you need a wellness check if Michigan loses?
I'm probably not. I would like Michigan to win, but the last 4 years not suddenly get invalidated. Like, I don't lose sleep. I'll lose some sleep over Michigan losing, but I don't. have my entire season redefined by it at this point, like Ohio State did last year. I will not have an asterisk placed on my national championship, unlike the Ohio State Buckeyes, who clearly have a fraudulent ring from last year.
Knowing Ohio State fans, they probably would put an asterisk on.
And here's what's going to happen. If Ohio State wins, it's the greatest accomplishment ever. They're so great. Ryan Day's finally back. This is the best team ever. And if they lose, we don't really care about the game, actually. We don't care about it. It doesn't matter anymore. It's the playoffs. It doesn't matter anymore. It's a cucked loser fan base who is going to have to stand for another year of being forced into the chair while Michigan pounds their way to the Big Ten championship and the playoffs. Sucks to be a Buckeye.
That has been our Week 13 predictions and Isaiah's thoughts on the Michigan-Ohio State game. Let us know what you think down in the comments below. Like the video, subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you in the next one.